Hello, sophomores, and welcome back. We're glad that you're back for your second year, and we're looking forward to working with you as you move forward in your academics in your pre-health planning. So this is our sophomore meeting, and we're just going over this for folks who are unable to come to our sophomore meeting, or for anyone who did come but wants a recap of what we did. So this is a sophomore meeting, and I will also be sending along notes of this, what the student said, as a separate Word document. So the agenda, hear from current applicants, that will be the separate Word document. Announcements, review, and the announcements will be in the email. We're going to go over and talk about self-assessment, the importance of academic honesty and professionalism, and a couple of reminders. We have somebody, well, we had somebody from BCom coming. We do in the future have David Newmeyer from Tufts coming on campus November 9th, and we hope that you'll be able to come. It's a perfect time to come and hear from an admissions dean and learn a little bit more about what the admissions folks are looking for. So as you're planning your experiences for your time at Northeastern, it's really good to keep in mind what's going to help you get into medical school for those folks who are medical school applicants. So these are the three students who we heard from, Gina, Sarah, and Lauren, and you will see a copy of their notes attached to the email. We did have a SAIL workshop. The new SAIL app is part of Northeastern's portfolio of technology that they have available to you. I definitely encourage you to consider using that app. The SAIL workshop is posted on our YouTube channel, and so you can definitely look at that and really get a sense of why you SAIL, how can it help you get into medical programs, and here's a link on how to connect to the SAIL app. We also have a bunch of wellness workshops, and October 22nd is our kickoff. It's really important, I think, to think about ways to take care of yourself as you're going through undergraduate and medical school, and as you're embarking on a demanding career. Realize that you can't take care of other people if you aren't taking care of yourself. So consider coming on the 22nd to the wellness kickoff and think about how do you take care of yourself as a way to help take care of others. So a little bit of information about applying, and this is something that you want to kind of keep in the back of your head as you're planning your timeline and activities. It's really important to realize that for medical programs, MD, dental, DO, optometry, podiatry, veterinary, they have a very long application cycle. So you apply in June for most of these programs to matriculate 14 months later, the following August. So if you want to go directly to medical school after graduating, that means applying in June of your junior year. So that really kind of condenses the timeline of where you have to complete activities. This is why a lot of people wind up taking a gap year, because if you are going to do 4 years and graduate, it's not a lot of time, right? If you are thinking you're going to graduate in 4 years and go directly to your medical program, that means that you would be applying, not this June, but the next June. So June 2020. So it's not that far away. It's really important. The schools do have rolling admissions, but it's really important to be thinking about applying in June. Data is very clear that that is the best time to be applying. Year of application. So just to illustrate, you apply in 2020. If you want to start in 2021, apply in 2021 to start in 2022. Our data has shown that you do not have to go directly to medical school. In fact, only about 25% of Northeastern students apply to go direct. So on this slide, you can see On the left, the applicants by year of graduation, and on the right, accepts by year of graduation. And you can see that those charts are very similar. 24% of our applicants apply to go direct, 25% of our accepts are direct. That's probably one person different. 25% apply having taken one gap year, 27% or 47% of our accepts have taken one gap year. So you can see the medical schools don't really care if you're taking a gap year or not. They care that you're applying when you're ready. They care that you know about the career of medicine. They care that you understand what you're getting into. You obviously have things that you care about. And so what you want to think about is, what do I care about? And for some people, they really care that they go directly to medical school. They have they have a timeline, you have an agenda, you have things that you want to do, and that's totally fine. 25% of our students do that, and there's absolutely no reason that you can't be in that 25%. Other folks, other applicants feel like, you know what, I want to do study abroad. I don't want everything I do in the first 3 years of college to be focused on medical school. I want to be a part of my culture club. I want to be on a club sport. I want to spend some time exploring and just learning about things that are a little different, and that's totally fine too. So I think it's nice that you have this flexibility and this opportunity, because it does allow you the option of looking at different ways and deciding what you want to do. So we're not telling you you need to take a gap year. We're telling you you have the opportunity to take a gap year. Many students do. You don't have to make that decision right now. That's definitely something you can come and talk to us about at any time. Another thing we want to talk to you about today is our self-assessment. So in the year that you apply on January 31st, you're required to submit a self-assessment to us. That's our first deadline. Right now, you can go online to your MAP account, your Medical Applicant Portal account in your My Northeastern, and download that self-assessment. Now, the year that you apply, you should be able to fill out everything on the self-assessment. Right now, you're not going to be able to. And so when you look at the self-assessment, it may look a little bit intimidating to you. Try not to feel intimidated by it. Instead, use it as a planning tool. So the self-assessment is really a guide of everything that the schools are looking for. Use it as a tool to say, well, this is what the schools are looking for. They're looking for research experience, for example. They don't care what kind of research experience it is. It can be bench research. It doesn't have to be. It can be clinical research. It can be public health research. It can be public policy. It can be engineering research. It can be business research. So think about, what do I want to do for research as an undergraduate, and how am I going to get that experience? Is it going to be a co-op? Is it going to be something I do part-time while I'm in classes? Am I going to spend some summertime doing that? Where am I going to fit that in? Maybe it's something you're going to take a gap year and you're going to be doing research during a gap year. If you take one gap year, remember, you're applying before you start your gap year activities, though. So what you do during one gap year does not go on your application. So we encourage you to download this, really to use it to do some planning. When you look at it, realize you can't do everything at once, and we hope you won't try to. But rather use it as a tool to say, well, this is what I want to do for my co-ops. This is what I want to do in the summer. This is what I want to be something that is a thread throughout my undergraduate experience. Sorry. A reminder, academics are really critical to admission to medical programs. GPAs for accepted students are very high. It is really important to get good grades. If things didn't go as well as you hoped last year, you can still bring your GPA up and be a qualified applicant. Schools will be very forgiving of freshman year grades. They understand freshman year is a time of adjustment. If you got a C last year, it's certainly not the end of the world. If you failed something even, it's not the end of the world, although please come talk to us about that. For a lot of people, if their GPA wasn't where they wanted after their freshman year, they will decide to take 8 semesters of classes and take a gap year so that you can get all your coursework in, and that becomes a smaller percentage of your overall GPA. So that's something to think about. But at this point, there's nothing that's happened academically that you can't recover from. That said, now is really the time to focus and to really do well in your classes and make sure that you're being academically successful. So really try and spend some time studying. If you didn't do well last semester, I really encourage you to spend some time going to office hours, talking to faculty, get into a study group with somebody who did do well, go to peer tutoring. So use all of the resources that you have in order to help yourself to be successful. You got into Northeastern, you can completely do this. Sometimes it does require changing the way that you study, and that can be really important. And now is the time to really be thinking about doing that. We definitely recommend that you get to know faculty. This is a set of our letter requirements. We do require letters of recommendation from faculty to science faculty, a third faculty member of your choice, a letter from a practitioner in your field, so an MD, a DO, a dentist, and then we allow 2 additional letters. We really strongly recommend a research letter. Obviously, you're not getting to know your faculty just for letters of recommendation, but do realize that one day you are going to be asking them for letters of recommendation. When you're sitting in class, realize that they know if you're sitting on your phone and texting through the whole class, it's not going to get you a letter of recommendation. Pay attention in class, be a good class citizen, go to office hours, take the time to get to know your faculty. Extracurriculars, we really recommend, again, get out of your comfort zone, engage in the Boston community. You choose to come to school in a city, to get into the city, and to meet people who are different from you. So don't just stay within the bubble. Make sure to get outside of just that bubble of the Boston area. Not everything has to be pre-med or pre-dental. Do things that you just think are going to be fun or interesting, that you're going to enjoy. Try and choose something that is a thread that follows you through your entire undergraduate experience and shows that you can commit to things. If you don't find that thing, it's not the end of the world. And that thing does not have to be medically related. It could be that you have a culture club that you're a part of, or that you've been a tutor or an RA, or that you've been in student government. It doesn't really matter. They just like to see that you can stick to things and commit to them. Follow your interests. People really apply with very, very different applications from Northeastern. There's sometimes some students are just really focused on the science and biology. Some students will be so focused on public health and global health. And you really want to find your passion within medicine. You don't have to do the same as anybody else. Just find what you like to do. And that's what the schools are looking for. And then I'm going to conclude by talking a little bit about professionalism. There's some research that's been done that correlates unprofessional behavior in medical school with subsequent disciplinary actions by a state medical board. And that's something that the medical schools are really carefully looking at. Obviously, no medical school wants their graduates to be in front of the state medical board. And so for the schools, what they've realized is one way to ensure that they won't have any unprofessional behavior, or to reduce unprofessional behavior in medical school, is to not accept applicants who look like they might engage in unprofessional behavior. So they're sort of taking a step back. And so it really becomes a lot harder to get into medical school if you have anything that seems like unprofessional behavior on your application. Now, what does that mean? If you got caught last year once with alcohol, it's not the end of the world. If you get caught multiple times with alcohol, though, that's a bigger concern. They're going to wonder, why doesn't this person learn from the first time? Academic dishonesty violations, being caught plagiarizing, copying off somebody's test, that kind of thing, that can be really harmful for an application. Even if it's something innocent, like a friend asks to look at your lab report and they copy it and you had no intention of letting them copy it, but they did it, something like that can really be damaging to you. So it's really important that you act with the greatest integrity and make sure not to put yourself in a position where somebody could plagiarize or steal your work, and you could wind up in a difficult position with Oscar, because that kind of thing can get you in trouble. Other things that can get you in trouble are really just regular, everyday person kinds of things, like your online presence obviously is really important. Just be careful what is out there about you, because they will Google you, they'll look at your social media. Um, I heard of somebody who their acceptance was rescinded because of something that was found online, and you don't want to be that person that happens to. Now, I'm assuming that none of you guys are going to do anything like that, but I just want to make sure that that's out there and clear. So, thanks everyone for attending. Definitely make sure to read over the notes that were emailed to you. If you didn't get those, you can email me for a copy. Feel free to set up an appointment with Sierra or I to go over any questions you might have about your freshman year or your plans moving forward. You can set up an appointment on your MyNEU. If you're going on co-op in the spring, it's a good idea to set that up this fall, because it's going to be harder for you to meet with us when you're working full-time on co-op. So thanks, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.